Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining our Ingram Micro Emerging Business Group webinar today, featuring Netscout, Opengear, and Scale Computing. My name is Carleen Edge, Marketing Manager here at EBG. Today's training will last approximately 60 minutes. And just to cover a couple housekeeping items, your lines are muted for the duration of the presentation. But if you do have any questions, you can go ahead and type them in the Q&A box on your screen, and we're going to address them after the presentation. We are on kind of a tight timeline today, so if we don't get to all the questions, don't worry, we're going to address them in our follow-up correspondence as well. This presentation will be recorded, and I'll share that recording link with you in our follow-up email, and of course, answer any questions you might have at that time. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to hand things off to Mike Schrader, Partner Business Development Manager at Netscout. Mike, take it away.
Sorry, I was muted, and I told myself not to do that. Thank you, Carleen. Appreciate this opportunity. Talk to some new partners out there. Thanks for Ingram for inviting us and putting this on. I want to introduce a couple people on my team, Tatiana, Jason, and Ray Lynn. As we go through this and maybe have some more connection with discussions with you, these people will definitely be involved. They work with me as far as bringing on new partners for Netscout, and hopefully we can have those conversations. So I want to start out and give you an idea of what Netscout does, who we are, and kind of how you identify where there might be an opportunity to sell Netscout. Netscout's been in this industry for over 38 years. We're about $1 billion in revenue, a little over 3,000 employees, design centers in the US and in India. And our products service both the enterprise as well as the service provider industry, right? I mean, traditionally, Netscout grew up as we were the original sniffer for anybody that goes back 38 years for capturing packet traffic on the network, right? In 2015, 2016, we made some significant investments, one of which was Arbor Networks. And Arbor Networks really kind of changed a little bit of the direction of the company. Arbor was more security focused. It was a DARPA project out of the University of Michigan in 2000, 2001 to really look at the internet and understand traffic flows. And DARPA, from that standpoint, Arbor was developed not only for the traffic flows, but it really got into the distributed denial of service, of which is a key part of the security business that really makes up Netscout today. So if you look at who Netscout is today, I mean, we have combined the capabilities of Netscout, of the leader in packet inspection, packet acquisition at line rate, with the threat detection and mitigation and intelligence from the global sensors around the world, of where we're integrated in over 90% of tier 1 suppliers and 80% of tier 2 service providers. And this has really developed a unique platform, which we call Omnis, which gives us visibility and security anywhere throughout the environment. Not only at the edge, which is where Arbor traditionally was, but also east-west within the environment, as well as being able to integrate and put all our capabilities forward with other suppliers in within that ecosystem. One of the things we are trying not to do is be a standalone. So we want to be very integral and part of that system in which we're working with other solutions and providers as well. When you look at Netscout, there are 3 pillars of solutions out there. There is the traditional Netscout, the network monitoring and application monitoring, where we're looking at how are your applications running over the network? What is the end user experience? How is that going? Because the end user is really the determination of how overall your applications are running, whether they're in the data center, they're in your private cloud, or your public cloud. Along with that is the security assurance. So not only at the edge protection for bidirectional attacks that may be happening, because somebody might be trying to exfiltrate data from your environment, so we can detect that as well, but also what is going on east-west within that data center, within that cloud, whether it's private or public. And then the last piece is being able to take that same piece of data that we use to monitor the network, to secure the network, but also be able to share that information for any export data that you want to combine it with for doing any business assurance, or if you want to integrate to any other solutions within that environment. As I mentioned, Netscout covers both the service provider as well as enterprise. And if you look at service providers, 90% tier 1, 80% tier 2 globally. But also if you look on the enterprise side, key industries that really rely on the network: financials, banking, insurance, healthcare. Those are significant investments in Netscout from a customer base. Both on the service assurance as well as on the security side, but also government areas, SLED, state and local, utilities, transportation, all are Netscout customers today. One of the things that, as a follow-up, I'm going to provide to Carleen is just an overview of partnering with Netscout. It's a two-pager, kind of gives you a first page of who is Netscout, why Netscout, what are some of the pain points. We're going to cover some of these today. And then on the back page is really that integration of that Omnis Cyber Intelligence, the OCI system, so you can see how it fits and plugs into the ecosystem. I offer this so you can share it with the rest of your team and understand whether Netscout is a good fit. So what does a partner profile look like of somebody that's selling Netscout today? So, typical resellers that we work with deal in the IT infrastructure. They're selling networking equipment, switching and routers, data center, server storage, cloud, unified communications equipment and services. Security is a big one everybody's working on as well. And then also services that wrap around this, of being able to add on capabilities with your resources of how you can help your customers. What Netscout is to those, it's not another piece of hardware or an application. It is a monitoring solution across the entire environment. It's an aggregation. So packet flow switches is one of the pieces that how we capture our data. But it's really monitoring of the network and application performance of any UC&C, voice video call center, WebEx or Telex. It's proactive in the sense that it gets ahead of the curve to give you an understanding of when there might be problems that are starting to occur based on information and changes that's going on in the environment. Also, we're giving you the cloud migration capability of understanding the performance as you migrate from a data center to a cloud, private or public, as well as the edge protection, threat hunting, and incident response. We also provide a service for customers that don't have the resources that need to be able to incorporate that. So we have a NOC that's in Allen, Texas, that we run for over 80 customers globally now, 365, 7 days a week, follow the sun type of approach. The other thing I think it's important, I mentioned this earlier, is our integration to other partners that are out there. Many of you may be selling AWS, Microsoft, ServiceNow, different firewalls like Palo Alto. We've invested quite a bit of time and resources in making sure that our systems plug and work and play with these solutions as well. So if those are existing in an environment, adding Netscout into it is an easy integral process. So I want to give you a quick look at what Netscout does, right? So if you look at the environment of which, problems begin and end with the user of their assessment of how they're dealing with their applications. If they're logging in, and they may be logging into a remote office either from home through a VPN. And as they start accessing different locations, databases, software within the environment, they may start to see some slowness. That slowness could be due to latency because of server issues, because of networking issues, applications or databases, or cloud issues. But it could also be that there is some malicious activity going on. And this is where Netscout really, this is where we earn our keep. This is what Netscout does by assuring the security, availability, performance, and end-user experience of those mission-critical networks and applications. We do that by looking at packets. Packets are the truth. We take that traffic, we perform analytics on it to determine if there's any performance anomalies or security anomalies. We do that through two pieces. One is the visibility anywhere. Without visibility, you really don't understand what you're seeing. So our goal is to be able to give that visibility throughout the entire environment, whether you are in the data center, your private cloud or public cloud, or multiple public clouds, which is where most things happen. And we do that based on deep packet inspection and turning those packets into smart data. It is a patented solution you'll hear about in a second called ASI, but it enables us to really structure that so we can be efficient with the data. We can use it in real time, as well as share that data across the environment. So I talked about visibility. Visibility is something that is not, I think during COVID, we realized that visibility has a new meaning. Visibility now is remote offices, home offices. You're on the road, you're in a remote location. So us being able to provide that total visibility throughout the environment is really key. And not only within the individual user, but also across multiple clouds. We have a tool that's part of the system that builds a dependency map to give you, as an IT specialist, an understanding of how everything is interconnected, how it's communicating, and if there's any issues that may be occurring between any of the systems that are currently running. Packets. Packets is the form, it's a unit of data carried by the network, right? It's universally available, and packets don't lie. They can't be edited, they can't be changed, they can't be modified. The problem with packets is they're very unorganized, right? And so that's where over 38 years, we have been working to really make that more efficient to be able to be used, not only by Netscout, but also by other users across the environment. Once you're able to organize those packets, and that's Netscout's focus, is taking the packets, carving them up into different levels of information associated with maybe a session level that you're having a communication with. It could be host and clients information, as well as metadata that talks about the traffic volumes, the different protection groups, errors associated with it. So we can take each of these pieces individually and use them in real time to be able to determine if there's any performance issues, security issues associated with the entire IT network. So ASI is the Adaptive Service Intelligence. It is the piece, it's software centric. So we not only provide this as an appliance, but it can be run on commercial off-the-shelf equipment. It can be virtually, that can be plugged into a cloud environment to give you full visibility across the data centers. And the nice thing, it's a common situational awareness. So it's one tool that can do all of those, provided in an open API and data format. And this is what we call the smart data that we're using to be able to really provide you with the ability to use any infrastructure, be anywhere in the environment, for any application or service, in any way you want to capture it, whether it's on appliance, a commercial off the shelf, whether it's virtual, and then be able to apply different use cases to that data to be able to troubleshoot, to monitor security, or integrate it with other capabilities throughout the environment. So I talked about the 3 pillars. The other thing about the 3 pillars is that our solutions run from tap to tool, meaning that from the initial beginning where we're collecting the data all the way through reporting and exporting the data, you have the ability to sell continuous solutions to that customer. So not limited to a one product fits all. This is one of the better land and expand solutions I've ever seen, in that customers typically add on continuously as they want more visibility, as they need more capability throughout that environment. So it gives you multiple opportunities to be able to come back and have discussions with the customer about different use cases and different requirements they have. There are many entry points in having discussions with customers, whether you're talking about service assurance and packet capture, whether you're talking about call centers and UC environments for voice, video, network management, troubleshooting, and even security. So a lot of different places to have a conversation with the customer and how Netscout might fit in. How do you recognize an opportunity? So lots of ways to look at what Netscout does. If your customer is talking about data center virtualization, if they're talking about moving to VDI, if they're having security events that are happening, they're migrating to an SD-WAN. VPN was a huge move during COVID. Or even if they're talking about how many tools they got and they need to consolidate. All of these are indications of when you need to call Netscout and let us help you discuss with the customer how we might solve his problems. As far as
just to jump in real quick, we're at you got about 3 minutes left, just heads up.
Yep, got it. Who do you talk to? I mean, talk all the way from the CIO down to the network operations team. So, you know, a lot of people, a lot of different disciplines involved, different principles involved in this, of where you can have conversations with Netscout. And if you're dealing with the IT teams today, these are people you're probably already talking to and can have a extended conversation with them. So wrapping this up, why partner with Netscout? Market position. It opens doors and keeps them open. I mean, 90% of Fortune 100 companies use Netscout. 38 years, we have a lot of loyal customers out there. And we've really moved from not only just the network side, but also the security side. So a larger base, it's not a one-time or a niche sale. Multiple departments involved. And it was a key enabler really during the digital transformation. Finally, the channel support you get from Netscout. And a lot of different aspects here. We provide free training, certification. We provide deal registrations, right? So higher discounts for new leads that you're bringing us. We have a demo program if you want to have demo equipment on your site, as well as we have funding to be able to do lots of events together, to be able to really engage better with your customers and be able to show what Netscout can do. And that's it. So thank you for your time. If there's any questions, I think we have maybe less than a minute left.
We did get one, and is Netscout similar to SolarWinds?
So Netscout is different than SolarWinds, and our focus is around packets. They're more NetFlow, SNMP type solutions. So they have a scaled down version of what Netscout provides, and they are more probably server oriented about how they're measuring data, where we're more network on the wire, understanding the packet information that is going between clients and servers across the globe.
Wonderful. We do have another question in here. I'm going to go ahead and put them directly in contact with you, Mike, to help them out.
Okay.
Just some time. So we're going to go ahead and move on to our next vendor today. We've got GK Layton, Distribution Sales Manager at Opengear. GK, we are ready for you whenever you are.
Oh, there it is. Sorry. Oh, are we good?
Looks good. Yep.
All right. Excellent. Excellent. Hey, thank you so much. Yeah, just GK Layton with Opengear. I today just wanted to touch on why Opengear, what we do, why partner with us, how to spot some opportunities, and where to sell. So let's jump right in. So why Opengear? We are in 75% of the top 100 companies. We are a U.S.-based company. All of our products are made in the USA and are TA compliant. I don't know if we have any Fed people out there or not. We are also worldwide. We do failover to cellular, secure remote access, and we are vendor neutral. We've been in business a long time, and we sell to a lot of big companies, as you can see. If you're looking for out-of-band, NetOps automation, secure provisioning, Netgear is probably the best option for you. Whether you're looking for data center edge solutions, deployment of SD-WAN, or securing your cloud, we pretty much do it all. So we are providing remote access to out-of-band or out-of-band access over a cellular network to help remediate problems in the network. We are complementary to about 90% of what you're already selling, like the Cisco's, F5, Arista, etc. And we give you access to switches, routers, PDU, firewalls, load balancers, storage stuff, smart out-of-band solution or cellular solution. We have central management, of which, obviously the single pane of glass that allows you to access to everything. And we can do zero-touch provisioning. So we can be your provisioning tool over our cellular link. This is just a kind of just a visual. You have someone in the NOC, normal path of using the network supplied by the ISPs to get access to the remote site. You can see the router, the switch, the POS information. If that connection gets interrupted for any reason, say a backhoe cut a cable or whatever, the person at the NOC can fire up our Lighthouse, which is Opengear's, again, central management solution. The Opengear unit will automatically fail over to cellular, reinstall into Lighthouse, and now you can see you can still see the Opengear unit and everything connected to it. So now you have access to your router, your switch, your POS system. So in your environmental devices as well, or you can troubleshoot or fix the problem. So this is our entire solution. Obviously, this is just the high level. You have our core products, our data center devices. We have our edge devices, or branch office, IoT, edge, or compute devices. For our core products, we even have a 96 port device as well. And of course, as I mentioned, we have the Lighthouse centralized management. Just some speeds and feeds here. All this is on our website, so I won't bore you all with the details. But I do want to point out the OM2200 and the CM8100 are newly launched. They don't replace anything. They've just been added to the portfolio. And I don't always put this slide on there, but I get a lot of requests for it. So our part numbers actually mean something. So real quick, the first two letters and the first two numbers are a product family, followed by the two characters. The following two characters are the number of serial ports on the unit, and the number after the dash is how many LAN ports. After that, the three characters after the dash is the power supply. So on this is DAC dual AC, or we have SAC single AC. Then it tells us if the unit is cellular or not. We support all the carriers all over the world: Verizon, AT&T, Rogers, Bell, etc. And the last two characters are for the power cord. US is North American, and we support power options from all over the world. But I just want to make a little note. You can also you can purchase our units without power cords, so it's just an option. Lighthouse is our central management software. It's a single pane of glass that allows you to access all the Opengear deployment and everything attached to the Opengear units. It's VMware or virtual software. The software can simply load onto the VM server, or if they want to run it in the cloud, we have AWS version or an Azure version as well. This is how we sell it. I guess the takeaway here is just the part numbers are broken out by the number of Opengear devices, and nothing new, but the more you, the better the price as the number of nodes gets larger. So what sort of partner do we sell to? What are the verticals we sell into? What are the products we work with? We complement, again, do not compete with Cisco, Fortinet, F5, HPE, Juniper, or any of the others. If you are selling switches, routers, firewalls, SD-WAN, etc., we should be a part of that bill of materials. We sell into the S and the SMB, all the way up to the Fortune 100 companies, the CDW, WWT zones, etc., and including MSPs are our focus for us. The verticals or segments are wide open. I mean, enterprise, data center, hospitality, financial, medical, security, IoT applications, anything with a branch office, assuming the branch office has its own small network. Retail, telcos are big for us. They have substations all over with no IT presence, but we give them visibility. This is this pretty much the same thing I just talked about. You can see some of the current customer logos, and you see some of the target customers that we are wanting to get into. If you have any contact or weigh in, I would love to talk to you about that. How to spot opportunities. I guess when you're talking to remote access, if you're talking and you hear remote access site or site build outs or refreshes, data center build outs, SD-WAN deployments, Cisco or any other manufacturer refresh, NetApps automation, those are all key terms. Think Opengear. Ask your customer how resilient their network is. What do they do, or what is their out-of-band solution? Ask what happens if something goes down or goes down in their data center or remote location. What do they do? Ask if they're considering an SD-WAN deployment. These are Opengear needs to be part of these conversations if they answer anything yes to those. So for SD-WAN deployments, they can create single points of failure. SD-WAN deployments, I mean, they're getting more complex all the time. Lots of patches and firmware upgrades, a lot of configuration changes. It's during those changes the risk gets high for something to go wrong. It's nice to have Opengear right next to the SD-WAN deployment. If any of those patches or configuration changes cause the SD-WAN router to go sideways, you have an Opengear box there to allow you to get in and solve that problem quickly. Plus, we reduce truck rolls and minimize downtimes, which is our value. This just says, this is basically don't rely on your network to manage your network. It just points out that everything in your network fails, you have no way in to troubleshoot or fix anything. By separating out and having the Opengear product outside the network, you'll always have a way in. This is some of the programs we have. We have a trade-in, trade-out program. If you have someone doing a refresh or they're using 3G product and need to upgrade due to the carrier sunsetting the 3G, I'm sure, as we all know, or just to have some legacy console servers or something they're trying to get out of. We have a program. The dollar amount varies obviously depending on the products they're trading in and depending on what they are purchasing. So I guess the takeaway here is just know that we have a program. If your customer is interested, please get with myself or Jonathan, who is our Opengear solution specialist at Ingram. Is that? I don't think I think it's a little delayed. We have a partner portal. Your partner will need to apply, but they don't need to be a certain level or anything like that. But just apply. The partner portal houses our marketing content, collateral by verticals, has self-paced trainings for sales and technical folks, email templates. It houses our inside and outside sales coverage maps, product images, logos, all that sort of stuff. Our latest promotions are housed in the partner portal, including our product catalogs. And probably the most important thing is it also is where someone would request a deal registration. And for us, the minimum deal size is 30K MSRP. And it must be new business to Opengear, meaning they've never bought from us in the past. So this is just one of our programs. It's a promotion that we've been running. It's a reseller promotion. If your partner sets up a call with a demo with us, they'll get $50. If the opportunity moves forward and gets a approved deal reg, they get another $100. And if the opportunity closes and it's still above the 30K minimum for deal reg, then they'll get another $250. That's basically what it is. Nothing new here. So why Opengear? Again, we are the market leader with more than 50% market share. Great margin and increases the deal size. We're complementary. Again, we don't compete with Cisco's, HPE, Juniper. So if you're selling those, we should be in the mix. Sales and technical support, channel team, regional sales team, inside sales and engineers, and a dedicated channel resources as well. We have a dedicated resource at Ingram, Jonathan, and again, America's reseller partner program. We have it's tiered by revenue requirement, but we are putting something together, a training requirement, a component as well. But that's going to be down the road here, probably later in this year. We have resources, again, like the partner portal. That's where the collateral templates, all that, and the deal reg program. And honestly, we are really easy to do business with. Real quick, as we wrap up here, this is the channel team. Brian Keepers, some may know him. He is our leader, our director of channel. We have Dee Dee in the East, Rob in Central Canada. We have someone in the West, Stephen Dombrowski. He's brand new. I'm sorry, I don't have his picture on here. Robin handles just CDW. Again, I handle all distribution. And again, on the side here, we have Jeff, who is our channel engineer, and Miranda is our marketing individual. So, and again, this is my contact information. Jonathan Jones is our solution specialist there at Ingram. Please, we are resources for you. If you have anything, any opportunities, please just bring it forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. All right, so let's just keep it moving. I'm going to pass things over to Kyle Fensky over at Scale Computing. I'm going to go ahead and make you the presenter. Hang tight, Kyle. All right.
Perfect. Can you see my screen too?
Not yet. Now I can. All right, looks beautiful.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much. Again, I am Kyle Fensky. I'm the director of North American Channel here at Scale Computing. Hopefully you guys are still with us here today. I'm going to make this pretty quick for you, but essentially wanted to touch on who Scale is. For anyone who is not familiar with us, we've been around for quite some time. We've been in the the HCI space since 2012. We've recently just announced our 10-year anniversary. So we've definitely been around for a while. We're headquartered out of Indianapolis. R&D is in San Francisco, and all our support is here in the US. So, you know, when you're calling into our support, you're working with the team. You're typically working with someone that's North American based, but we are a global company. So we do have a presence and the ability to go all over the globe. We kind of touch on customers from all sizes. So you can see us touching on the small mom and pop shops all the way up into some of the big retail chains, like some of the ones on there with Resorts World or Del Hayes, Northern Marine, stuff like that. We kind of go across the board, and I'll get into that a little bit later, but definitely want to make sure that you guys understand that the HCI space isn't necessarily just for the enterprise anymore. It does meet the whole scope. We do have a lot of alliance partners as well, and these alliance partners, and the reason why we keep building out our alliance ecosystem is mostly because when we go into an opportunity, our goal is to make things simple and easier for the customer and the partner to both deploy and use and sell for that aspect. So as we go through here, you'll see how some of these relationships definitely play into the overarching scale computing scheme. So for those that aren't familiar, there we go. For those of you that aren't familiar, what is hyperconverged? What is this HCI that Kyle is talking about? Essentially, what we did and the way that we look at it is that we took the compute, storage, and virtualization layers, we combined them all down into one single solution. And by doing that, we've created our scale computing hypercore. Essentially, think about this in the grand scheme of things. If you're taking that storage, the servers, the hypervisor, you're smashing that all down into one unit. Now you don't need to go and have 3 different technologies. Come to scale computing. You don't have to go buy an HP server and then go buy a VMware and then go buy a Buffalo NAS and combine them all together and configure them. Come to us. We got the whole solution. We have built it out in a way that is very simple to deploy and easy to use. But not only that, think of the different scenarios that you can use this in. Whether it's going to a customer for their infrastructure and just talking about, hey, we got a few virtualized servers, or we have a VDI deployment, we have this video surveillance system that we need to manage, or we have the point of sale, or dealing with IoT, so on and so forth. I could continue on this for forever. Think about the different infrastructures that are out there. Now you can go to them with a full solution saying, hey, let me get this easy to deploy solution. Let's get it up and running. And we'll do it in a very highly efficient way that they can check a bunch of different boxes here. But one of the cool things that we just launched is our Scale Computing Fleet Manager. Now, when you go to these customers, you can go to them and saying, hey, listen, you have 10 sites, you have 100 sites, you have 10,000 sites. You can now manage your whole infrastructure in one single pane of glass. So now they can do it whether they're on their phone, or they can have it, their own management solution set up, whether it's in a NOC or so on and so forth. Now they can go through and they can manage the customer's infrastructure. So this is a huge selling point for the MSPs out there. Now, when we talk about the infrastructure and we talk about what we're doing with HCI, there's 4 big pillars that really are built into scale computing's DNA: the availability, simplicity, efficiency, and flexibility. Now, what I mean by all of this is, from the availability side of things, our solution is built out in a way that we typically deploy it in our clusters. That's 3 nodes in one cluster. By doing that, the solution and the technology is built in a way that is going to be highly efficient. So if one of those nodes goes down, the VMs and whatever you had stored on that node is automatically going to roll over onto the other 2. So the solution's always going to be available. It gives that customer that extra safeguard, if you will, to make sure that what they need to have up and running stays up and running. The simplicity aspect of it is similar to what I mentioned before. Like, our goal was to take a complex infrastructure and simplify it. There's many different reviews out there, but we can go through, and our solution, when we give it to a customer, you can have it up and running in under an hour. There's actually a review out there now that someone went through and deployed it in 20 minutes. The efficient side of things also goes into what we can do with our software. So now we have a good partnership with Intel out there. And if you're familiar with the Intel NUCs, they're about the size of an Apple TV. We can now go through and put this software and be able to deploy a full data center into one of those NUCs. And if you add 3 of those NUCs together into the cluster that we have, now you can go to a customer and say, hey, let me give you like a data center in a box. You can hold it in the palm of your hand. It really kind of changes the world when it comes to what's happening and what's going on. And then the flexibility side of things. When you go through and deploy to a customer, you can deploy to what they have today, not necessarily what they're going to be having for 5 years or 10 years, because the solution is designed in a way where if you buy what they have today and then they hit those limits and they need more space, they need more compute, we'll just add another node. It's a mix and match hardware type of solution where you can just drop in another load or another node, and they can just let those loads spread out accordingly. The scale computing platform touches on many different customers. So I kind of mentioned how we cover the gamut there, and I've touched on all of these. But when we first started out, we really were focused in on that SMB customer. So the guys that have the 1 to 10 in IT staff, or you have 1, maybe 2 servers. These are great customers to bring scale into, because not only are we going to provide a technology that is thought to only be for the enterprise, but we can do it in a way that the small mom and pops can set it up and run it and use it on a day-to-day basis. With the introduction of Fleet Manager and the way that we deploy our technology, now we hit that MSP vertical, where if you have hundreds or thousands of customers that you're managing, well, why not use our MSP model in that Fleet Manager to really see and understand what infrastructure is out there? If something goes down, if something goes offline, you can then address it with your customer proactively instead of waiting for them to call you saying, why is everything down? And then by the way the technology has been evolving over time and how we've pushed ourselves into be that leader in the edge computing space, it's brought us up into this distributed enterprise. So now when we start talking to a lot of these customers, whether it's retail, manufacturing, the quick serve restaurants, so on and so forth, these thousands of different sites that are deployed out there, now you can go to them and say, hey, let me drop 3 Apple TV per se type units into each of these stores that you're opening up. Let them all communicate back to the cloud or back to a main data center. But now you can go through and offer them, knowing that they're going to point of sale and all their technology is going to stay up and running, whether or not they lose that connection to the cloud or something were to break on site. So I talked a little bit about the edge. The edge computing space and everything is where we see a lot of that technology is going. With the technology all going to the edge, a lot of what we're seeing is that the edge is being looked at differently as to what is edge computing, where is the edge? And we really kind of summed it up as any location outside the 4 walls of the data center. So when you peel this onion back a little bit more, you can think about it in many different scenarios, whether it's the retail, the hospitality, the casinos, so on and so forth. And we can break that down into what's going on. So in the retail space, you can think of it as someone going down a grocery store, and they're taking advantage of the IoT world and everything that's coming out from that standpoint. They can see a smart shelf. If something gets taken off the shelf, then they can go through and automatically order it. So, excuse me. From the maritime side of things, you can look at it as when ships get deployed out. Typically, when a ship is out at sea and something goes wrong from the infrastructure standpoint, they'll have to put a technician on a helicopter, fly them out to that ship so that they can do what they need to do on that ship to keep it up and running. Now they can save thousands of dollars by just being able to know that something went down and it automatically healed itself, and then they can replace it or fix it once it comes into port. From the casinos and the hospitality space, look at it as the video surveillance. So as you walk into a casino, there's so many cameras that are covering everything in that casino, that if you need to access that data immediately or while you're there on site, you need to have the storage and the compute capabilities to be able to manage that data accordingly. And we could go on and on into many of these other scenarios, but the idea is simple, that the edge is everywhere, and all these different things that when you're talking to a customer, you may not necessarily think about it today, but as you peel back that onion as to where do you have your applications, what do you need to have up and running, that's when the conversation changes. And you're like, oh, well, why not have a small box running at this location to keep it all stable and up and running when you need it most? Now, as I mentioned, we do support from the edge to the core to the cloud. So from the micro edge on the left there, those are the Intel NUCs. So you can see they're about the size of an Apple TV. And if you put 3 of them on top of each other, you kind of have a data center in a box. But as we go into the data center itself, we do fit the whole mode of, or the whole gamut, if you will, of being able to drop the full data center and replace what customers currently have. So if they're looking for a refresh, if they're looking to change off of what they're currently using today, this is when you can bring scale into the conversation and really change the technology, or go to them and offer them something new that they may not have thought of before. So I work with scale. We're in the game to really protect our partners and really make sure that it's a good fit for you. So from a profitability standpoint, we have high margins built into our products. You're typically looking at over 20% in the partner base that is going to be for you. The fit when it comes to the customers, so really if you go through and you sit down and look at your customers, you probably have a good handful of customers that you could bring this technology to and say, hey, this is what you're doing today. Have you thought about going into the HCI space? Typically, whether it's a small customer that is hesitant to even look at it because they think that HCI means enterprise, this is a great opportunity to just open the door for it. If you do have those medium-sized customers that maybe they're in the data center and they're looking to refresh, a good fit for us to come in there and be able to really show the value. Typically, we're going to beat out the competition when it comes to price. So if you have a VMware solution, a Nutanix solution, stuff like that, chances are we are going to compete and beat when it comes to price, and then bring so much of the functionality that scale computing is known for. The ease of doing business. We're out there and we're 100% channel focused. So if you come to us, you register a deal, we're going to keep it with you. We're going to win and lose together in those opportunities, and we are stronger together. So as the partnership grows, we do have a channel team that will work with all of our partners directly. So if it's a lead gen campaign, if you're looking to do an event, you're looking to do certain activities, come to us with those ideas. The team is always looking for new and creative ideas that we can find new business together. So my ask out of you is essentially, let's build that partnership together. If you go to partners.scalecomputing.com, you're essentially going to be able to register as a Scale Computing partner. And then from there, my channel team will reach out to you. We'll go through the onboarding and we'll give you that white glove service of understanding who Scale is, where you can take it to your customers. We'll do the account mapping. We'll look for different incentives to bring the customers onto the call together and things like that. So just to drop this in here, we do have a spiff going right now for all of our partners. If you have a deal and you want to make a little extra money, go through, be a partner with us. If you register that first deal, we're going to give you $100. That second deal, we're going to give you $200, totaling $300. And then you can see as this adds up, you can make up to $1,000 for registering 4 deals with us before the end of November. The other kicker to it is the person who registers the most, we're going to give you a $500 StubHub gift card. You can take that, go see your favorite team, and really enjoy kicking off the relationship on the right way. So the last couple slides here, I just want to introduce you. This is my team. We're spread out across the US here, but we do have a full coverage. Outside of the channel team itself that will take care of you, we do have a full sales team. So on the screen here, you'll see how we're broken up into different regions. That's going to be my regional sales guys, the channel team, and our systems engineers. So as you bring us into an opportunity, you have a full team to back you. And basically our ask out of you is to bring us into the opportunity, and we will do the heavy lifting. You don't need to be the expert. That's why we're here. And with that being said, thank you again. I'm Kyle Fensky, Director of North American Channel. If you scan that QR code right there, you can get all my contact information, connect with me on LinkedIn, and if you need anything immediately, there's a code where you can share your information with me, and I'll reach out this afternoon.
Thank you so much, Kyle. I love that QR code idea. We actually had a couple requests on how to get in contact with you guys. So I'll in our follow-up email, I will provide all of the contact information for who to follow up with each vendor, and answer any other questions that we had at that time. along with the recording of the webinar and any additional collateral that our vendors want to share with you. So thanks again, everybody, for spending some time with us today. We really appreciate it. And we'll be in touch soon. This does conclude our webinar today. I hope everybody has a great day. Bye-bye.